Cristina, what do you got going today?
Well, it's the second day of jury selection in the trial of Casey Anthony. She's an Orlando mom who's accused of murdering her toddler daughter back in 2008. And this is a case that has captivated the public and one that we've been following very closely here at FoxNews.com for the last 3 years. Basically, this young girl, this 2-year-old girl, Kaylee, was reported missing back in 2008. A very sad case. They found her body 6 months later, and her mother now is on trial for first-degree murder. And prosecutors say that the evidence here is overwhelming against the mom, that her story didn't add up from the beginning, that she lied about...
She changed it a bunch of times,
She changed the story. She said she dropped the toddler off with a babysitter. She said she dropped her off with a babysitter on June 9th, yet there's actual video of the girl on June 15th visiting a nursing home with her grandmother. So the story
they never found the babysitter, right?
Well, they did actually find the name of the woman that Casey Anthony claims was the babysitter. However, this woman says, I don't even know who she is. I never even met her. And they found no phone records, no computer records even linking this woman to Casey Anthony. So there's so many inconsistencies here, and prosecutors are saying, look, this is going to be a slam dunk, and if she is convicted on murder charges, she does face the death penalty.
Wow. And her parents, I guess, are allowed back in the courtroom.
They're allowed back in the courtroom, and the defense has been trying to block that. I'm not quite sure why that is. They've sort of flip-flopped back and forth in supporting their daughter. I think it was her mother, Cindy Anthony, first made the phone call to police reporting the girl as missing, and she asked a dispatcher to come to the home to arrest her daughter. And then a month later, she supported her daughter and said the foul odor in the back seat of her daughter's car could have been a dead body, right? It could have been a dead body, but then she backtracked and said, well, maybe it was a dead squirrel. So there's so much with this case, and it's just
because dead squirrels typically turn up in sealed trunks all the time.
In sealed trunks, and the thing is, I mean, they did testing of the car, and air samples reportedly show that there was a decomposing body at some point in that car. They also found traces of a chemical called chloroform, which is associated with decomposition and which can induce unconsciousness. So there's just so much here. And then on the other side, the defense is saying, well, when the body was discovered, the bones didn't show any sign of trauma. So how could you really prove that there was a homicide? I know detectives did rule it a homicide, but an undetermined cause. They were never able to really know what caused the death. So there's just so much evidence to look at here, and this week is going to be spent basically picking out the jurors, and they had to move the jury selection to the Tampa area, even though the trial is in Orlando, because there's just been so much attention given to this case.
I was going to say, it must be a hard selection process. One, just to find people who don't know anything about the case, but people who are going to be fair.
Who are going to be fair, and people who will say that they are willing to consider the death penalty. I think they had to disqualify one juror, possible juror, yesterday because he said, look, I can't even consider that. So he had to be
I always wonder in that jury selection process, and I've been in it, as a juror, I already decided what I think. And if a judge said to me, can I be fair and impartial?
Have you ever been selected?
No, I'm never
That's
selected.
Why.
I know.
You'd make a terrible juror.
Obviously, so stop calling me for jury duty then.
But you have to consider beyond a reasonable doubt. And
no, I know.
There's a lot of evidence that they have to sort of sift through and hear, but I know, I mean, it just sounds to me like, the evidence here is overwhelming.
But beyond a reasonable doubt marked against, could I actually raise my hand in support of the death penalty? That's two big questions.
I think the reason I was reading that they didn't want the parents, the defense in the courtroom, was because the parents are prone to have facial expressions with their daughter, and if something was brought up in the case, they might have recognition of, oh, I remember that, or oh, I didn't know that, and so they don't want the mom and dad, who I'm sure this has to be so hard for parents. They love their daughter, but this was their granddaughter.
Yeah, I've been reading, obviously, so much on this case, and I think a former friend of Casey Anthony's said, she wanted to get rid of the child. She wanted to go back to her single partying life. and she wanted to give the child up for adoption, but that her mother wouldn't let her. This is according to a friend who knew her. So there's just so much here, you know, to look at. And I also should add that police claim to have found computer records from the Anthony homes showing that somebody actually looked up search terms, neck breaking, chloroform, decomposition. So there's just a lot that they're going to have to look at, and the trial is expected to last about 2 months.
Wow. Well, I'm going to declare her guilty of being stupid, because really, I mean, if this is true, well, who goes on a computer and Googles?
Somebody who doesn't.
And
I'm declaring her guilty.
These pictures that
I mean, not exactly a very good murderer, a very good criminal.
There's these pictures that surfaced of her partying in the days following her daughter's disappearance, and so that's also another thing.
She really packaged up her case great. The searches before on the internet, partying afterwards, the odor in the whole thing. It's awful.
And I also believe, Cristina, she didn't call cops initially.
Right.
Which was so weird. And what was her excuse for that?
The girl wasn't reported missing until a month after, because Casey Anthony allegedly said she was investigating it on her own and she was scared.
Gumshoe Anthony.
That was before or after she was searching neck breaking on the internet? I mean, well, I just don't know, really, how do you get somebody to say that beyond a reasonable doubt?
Think, you know, I've been also, you know, wondering why this case specifically has captivated the nation as it has, because I mean, sadly, there are so many situations like this, but I think, you know, you see pictures of the mother and the daughter smiling together, and it's just inconceivable to people that a mother would be capable of killing her toddler if in fact she did do that. And so it's just, you know, it's gotten so much media attention, and we are on it, we are following it hour to hour, so we will have more updates, I'm sure.
Yeah, the coverage on foxnews.com has been great all through the years, as so many developments have happened when they found what they thought, the remains in the backyard. I remember the network at Fox News covered it, but you at foxnews.com really have done some comprehensive research. You're going to stay on the case, and I think the reason too, Cristina, is why it captivates so many is because of what you said. A mother, so many people, men, women, but particularly mothers, can't fathom killing your own kids, and I think those cases where the mother drives into the ocean with the 4 kids, or takes the life of her own kids, or even a father killing his own kids.
But it's inconceivable to people.
Unimaginable. Well, thanks. We'll be following your coverage on foxnews.com. Thanks.